unit looking a bit tidier. We had a skip there yesterday, so we, you know, that whole area was just full of crap and various bits of crap there. So we've been busy in here for the last day or two. Jets, jet cleaner, set of 150s. What's that? Oh yeah, 155s, 160s, 157.5s, 145s. We'll take them all, because I can't actually remember what's in there, to be honest. Time flies, man. Can't remember what's gone on, what's been doing. Take that GoPro mount as well. These bars are probably why my enduro bike felt so weird, because actually they're a lot wider than one, you know, on the bike, on the motocross bike. Right, carbs out, and I've got a 155 main jet in there at the minute, so I'm going to put my 157.5s in, and then I'm going to set my needles on the middle notch, I reckon. Interestingly, I don't know if it's a thing or not, but so I know that my needles are set at the highest to give it maximum amount of fuel with this jet. Does that mean that if you go one more jet size up and then you put your needle all the way down to the bottom, that you're continuing that rate, or does it not really work out that way? Do you have to go a couple of jet sizes before maximum lift is the same as minimum lift on the needle? So there's a question for you. See if you can give me an answer on that one. But what I shall do is I'll just put these 157.5s in, make sure there's nothing else going on in there, because there was a bit of crud in the bottom of these, and then change my needles just to the middle notch as a sort of a starting point again, and we'll take it out for a spin in a minute after we've done that. So I'll grab my balancing gauges. Huh, they're already at home then. Is there? Must be at home. So what actually happened for the 2-week delay or 3-week delay or whatever it was? Well, I changed the main jet on the carbs, and I left the needle on its highest setting, so rich as it could go on the needle. And then I stuck it all back together, and it was running really nice, albeit I knew that I wanted to rebalance my carbs a touch. So I rode it down to the unit, and then it started popping and farting and doing something stupid. So balancers weren't there. Went back home, found those, they were already in the garage, and it was popping and banging, and I thought, oh, this is annoying, something's up here. Put the balancers on it, and I was trying to
it was down on the number 4 cylinder quite badly. Squirted some water on the header pipe and it was like stone cold. And so was number 3 next to it wasn't particularly great either. And I thought, what's going on here? Anyway, I switched a few HTs around, had a look at the plugs, switched the plugs around. It turns out the plugs have gone down. Well, definitely one of them has anyway. So, went out, picked up a couple of plugs, put them in, got one cylinder back. The other one was still a bit bad. But bearing in mind, I'd already messed around with the balancer at this point. And when one's not firing, it can give you some funny readings on the vacuum. So I fiddled around a bit more with one of the HT leads was not particularly great. And I just couldn't get number 4 to work. And I'm going wild with the adjusting screw now, like backwards and forwards, trying to get some life out of it. Because on the throttle it was fine, it was just ticking over that was the problem. And I'm messing around with the mixture and trying to... Anyway, I thought, I wonder, and those balancing gauges that I've got, I've had them for like 20 plus years. And, you know, I looked after them really well in the beginning, but, you know, they get knocked around here and there. So, I sort of screwed one of the adjustments out, and then I swapped number 4 pipe vacuum hose for number 3 vacuum hose, and number 4, the one I'd screwed way out, when I plugged it into number 3, that it was way out, so it crossed over, which suggests to me that the gauges are either damaged or something's not quite right there. And I just thought, right, okay, might as well just get a new set of vacuum gauges and done with it. So I ordered a Morgan Pro Tune, I think it's called. Ordered one of those off eBay. That's the vertical rod one. It's got the 4 vertical rods, and it's kind of modelled on the original version, which was, believe it or not, they used to be full of mercury, like a thermometer, but now they use a solid rod instead. So we waited a little while for that to turn up, and I chucked it on there, and sure enough, once I got those set up, because there's a little bit of setting up you need to do on those Morgan tuners. Once I got it set up there and I started dialing it in, that number 4 cylinder started coming back to life. So amongst the duff plug and this, that and the other, I'd actually adjusted the carb so way out trying to get something back out of it, I'd completely lost it, you know. And then you're flying in the dark then. If your gauges aren't reading right, you're in, you know, you're fighting a losing battle. So there we go. So for the final fueling that I'm got on here now, which I'm quite happy with, is I'm on a 157.5 main jet. I've actually got the needle lifted to the highest setting because I suspect I could probably do with a different shaped needle. And then my mixture screws are actually at 2 turns out now. And yeah, it pulls well. I'm quite pleased with it. I mean, the mid-range is like a train. It's like a freight train. It kind of, I don't know, there's a bit, I wouldn't say, there's no flat spots. Just it takes a little moment to get going off of around that 2,000 to 3,000 mark. But you know, you can open the throttle wide open and it just goes. It's great. And of course it's ticking over quite nicely because of the old new balancers, which is very good. And it still sounds great. So what, 2 grand here, 2.5 grand? Nice and clean. Love it. Yeah, and we've got a nice golden brown colour on the plugs too. Because before that it was just getting a little bit hot. Just, you know, especially this time of the year, it's even the evenings are quite warm, and you could see it breathing off the head breather. But it seems a lot more stable now. And I didn't really worry about them getting too hot, not these oil-cooled motors. It's not like you're blowing out water from the radiator or anything. Obviously you don't want them to bake and warp ahead or something, but they're quite resilient, you know. But you can tell when they're getting hot, they start running a bit funny, getting a bit fluffy, and they're not particularly happy. So, but that seems to be much better now. And as I say, we've got a much better colour in the plug, so I'm pleased about that. So here we are, look. Nice green mudguard on there at the moment. You got my crazy cow worn bars on there. Just use them for cruising around. Green mudguard because I had to use it for work because the van was broken down. So I was like, oh god, and I was getting water in my face, splashing off the front wheel. I still haven't done my fork seals yet, but I will get around to them eventually. Everyone's like, oh, you get oil all over your discs. Well, it's not that bad. Polished cases, although they've been exposed to a bit of water recently. The old tank paint job, still quite pleased with that, although but I did make a lot of mistakes doing that paint job. Lessons learned and that, but that's okay. I rather stupidly didn't use fuel-proof lacquer. And so every time I get a slightest drip on there, it melts off. So a bit earlier on today, I actually had to flat that back and then clean it down because I'd got a lot of stuff around, a bit like this going on here. That was a big mistake that was made. What can I do about it? Well, not much really. My jacket's already rubbed through and taken that pinstriping off. And so yeah, I've still got my nose cone to do. Oh, I had a reaction here, you'll see that in the light now. And you know what, I got to the point I was like, oh god, I just can't keep faffing around with this. It's just driving me mad a little bit, you know. And it's all down to bad preparation, to be honest, and not having the patience. Fitted the old steering damper which was on my drag bike,
So I've kind of half permanently borrowed that for the time being, because she is a bit twitchy, especially with these bars on. What happens is the wind actually catches my jacket and it translates through the bars, and because they've got so much leverage, you know, it gets a bit of a wobble on. So the old steering damper's there for a bit of peace of mind. But she's looking pretty cool, she's getting there. Got the mirror on there because I can't really look over my shoulder much very well these days. I can. It's getting better actually. I've sort of loosened up my neck compared to what it used to be like. Alright. I'm going to see if I can put this on the thing over there, so that I can do a couple of little passy shots.
Well, what can I say? I get it running nice and almost looking pretty good, and then I nearly set fire to it. Well, what can you do? That anybody who's got a slabby will know they've got that sort of two-piece fuel, like you've got the permanent fixed fuel tap on the bottom of the tank, and then there's like an L-joint solid metal fitting that goes into the fuel tap, and then the hose sits on that. Sometimes it just works its way out, sometimes it doesn't. I remember on my old tank I had a zip tie on there, cable tie, just keeping it there. But I've had it on and off quite a lot recently, and it's obviously wasn't sat in there properly. Never mind. So, well, there you go. Hope you've enjoyed the video. As always, hit the like and subscribe. I'm at 301 subscribers now, which is pushing up there slowly. It's getting there. So yeah, do me a favour, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, like it, share it, do whatever you want, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.